Will do.
All these cars driving by.
Yes. Young drivers tell us that there's a lot of distractions in the car, which we all know, whether it's messing around with your music, trying to plug in your phone that's about to die, or trying to plug into your
This favorite not color. Yesterday, Brenna did a Facebook Live. It was pretty savage, I gotta tell you. For Brenna, it was pretty savage.
All new, ahead at noon.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Mic check. Mic check. Shannon's mic check. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2. She says it sounds like that. 1 sec. And mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 1 2 1 2.
An IFB box.
Oh, you got the one that's...
It's who? Jasmine. Gotcha. Stacy, mic check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Mic check, Amanda.
Mic check 1 2 3
not a
4 5.
mic
Mic
check.
check 1 2 3 4 5. What would you like me to do? What would you like me to do
Talk.
instead? I can say whatever I want, however I want, when I want. America. Mic check 1 2 3.
America.
Mic check.
Testing 1 2 3. I'll actually give you a mic check since that's what the people want. You give the people what they want, and like a
The weather. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Okay, Rundy ran to the truck.
I think it's interesting that we're finally putting the weight on men to control their responsibility.
Stand by. Strong winds rolling through Sanibel right now, and we're going to tell you just how bad it's expected to get.
I think it's interesting that we're finally putting the weight on men to control their responsibility.
Hormone-free, and men and women can use it. How tapeworms could lead researchers to a product that could revolutionize birth control.
And take a look at this shocking video why Broward deputies pepper sprayed teens before tackling them to the ground. The NBC2 News at 11 starts right now.
And we will start off this 11 o'clock newscast right here in the Weather Center because you really want to be paying attention to what happens outdoors over the next few hours, as there's two opportunities for thunderstorms here this afternoon. First things first, everywhere shaded in red, which includes Sarasota and DeSoto County, are now under a tornado watch from the National Weather Service. This officially runs through 4 o'clock this afternoon. And of course, as you know, a tornado watch simply means that conditions in the atmosphere are favorable or expected to become favorable for strong storms that could potentially produce tornadoes. Now, obviously, the tornado risk is a lot higher up toward the north of us as this big line of storms moves through. But in the past about hour and a half, a little line of thunderstorms has popped up right off the coast of Lee and Collier counties. Now, this is producing some locally heavy rain and some good number of lightning strikes here in the past 15 minutes. The storms are moving toward the northeast at about 40 miles an hour, which means if you're watching in western Collier County or western Lee County, you should be prepared for these storms to start moving toward your neighborhood. Based on the forward speed right now, we can expect arrival on Fort Myers Beach at 11:27, Pelican Bay by 11:29, and the Naples Park community right here in western Collier west of 41 by 11:29 as well. On the northern end of these thunderstorms, they're moving toward the western side of Lee County, and based on their movement here at about 40 miles an hour, we can expect arrival inside the next 15 minutes for Sanibel Island, North Captiva, and St. James City. Now, right here on Sanibel Island is where we find our friend NBC2 reporter Shannon Clough. Shannon, you've got some active weather coming your direction in the next 15 minutes. What do things look like outside right now?
Hey Rod, right now we're definitely starting to feel that wind pick up. We're starting to feel just a couple raindrops, but what's really cool out here right now is if you take a look to my left over here, you'll see some skies that are looking clear, and then if you take a look just over to my right, that's where everything's starting to look stormy over here. I have an anemometer, which is just a tool that measures the wind speed, and it's looking like winds are ranging from about 15 to 20 miles per hour out here right now. So wind's definitely picking up, but another thing I do want to point out is in the next hour here, we're going to start to see the high tide at its peak, and we're expecting to get all the way up here. You can see we do have some brave people out here today raving this weather. They're probably going to be scattering. We're seeing people scattering as we're starting to feel a little bit of raindrops out here, but not too bad, not what we're expecting in the next hour or so. I do want to point out that when we got here about probably a half hour ago, the water came up to probably around here. Now, as you can see where the sand is wet up there, the waves are already picking up. We have some surfers out here who are trying to brave the waves. Probably not the best idea as the wind is starting to pick up. But of course, throughout the day, you can count on our first alert meteorologist to keep you updated. I know Rob is on top of this storm, so anything you need to know, download our NBC2 weather app. I'm live in Sanibel. Shannon Clough, NBC2.
All right, Shannon, thank you. Well, the Collier County Sheriff's Office is using humor to try and get drivers to slow down. You may have seen messages along the side of the road like this one, who says, who are you going to call? Nobody, you're driving.
Yeah, pretty clever there. NBC2's Megan Myers talked to the drivers about this new approach. So Megan, what have some of these drivers told you?
Young drivers tell us that there's a lot of distractions in the car, whether it's messing around with our radio or trying to charge our phone that's about to die or plugging something into our GPS. They say signs like that are something they're not used to seeing around the city of Naples, but they say they're definitely capturing their attention.
People know that they should be driving safe, and if they're not, they're breaking the law, and that's very clear with the signs.
It's not your average slow down sign grabbing the attention of young drivers here in Collier County.
Yeah, I think, with the creative messaging, it really gets someone's attention, which, maybe it's too distracting, I don't know, but I think that they definitely can have an impact.
CCSO says in 1 week they gave out more than 100 citations.
You hope that's not you one day, and you hope you're not driving alongside those people for very long.
The signs aim to remind drivers to slow down, put the phone down, and buckle up.
I think a lot of people don't respect the fact that they're in a car. This is a large vehicle. You can do a lot of damage to yourself and others.
Now, what you're looking at right now is the most recent sign that the Collier County Sheriff's Department just put up this morning. Now, they tell us that they've been getting a lot of positive feedback on these signs. They're planning on keeping them out within the next couple of weeks. We're live in Naples. Megan Myers, NBC2.
All right, Megan, thank you. Well, K-9 officers helped end a massive manhunt in Collier County early this morning. Deputies say that a man broke into a home and hopped a fence trying to get away, but he didn't make it very far. This happened on Isle de Palma Circle, which is off of Immokalee Road in the Saturna Lakes gated community. NBC2 is working to find out for you who the man is that they arrested, also what he's accused of taking.
This morning, a car chase stretching from Collier to Lee County. You can see in this video a red truck crashing straight through a fence on I-75. There it is. Right now, NBC2 is working to confirm if this was a police chase and whether or not that driver was arrested.
Well, deputies arrested this woman who you see on your screen for calling 911. Catherine Deal called them 5 times. The thing is, she didn't have an actual emergency. Take a listen.
Collier County 911, what is the address of your emergency? This is not an emergency.
Heard her right there. The 55-year-old claimed that someone using her old number was making threats to her friends and family. She recently bought a new phone and hadn't shared her new number yet. Well, all the calls totaled about 21 minutes. The Collier County Sheriff's Office says what she did tied up resources.
Really what they're doing is taking that person and they're taking the time while other calls are building up in the queue and need to be answered. So they really could be preventing someone from getting help.
This isn't her first time misusing 911. Deal was also arrested in 2011.
One Florida county was hacked by Russian cyber agents. The hacking was detailed in the Mueller report released yesterday, but it did not reveal which county it was. The report says the county was targeted in a spear phishing scheme. That is when a hacker sends an email with an attachment, and when you click it, it gives the hacker access to your computer. The Department of State continues to say that the 2016 election was not hacked.
President Trump will be in South Florida this weekend. This is his first visit to Mar-a-Lago since a Chinese national was arrested on the property 2 weeks ago. The president and the first lady are expected to attend Bethesda by the Sea Episcopal Church on Easter.
Good Friday is an important day for Christians. People in Paris celebrating today around what's left of the Notre Dame Cathedral. Omar Jimenez explains what may have caused that fire to start.
It's been 4 days since a heartbreaking fire tore through Notre Dame, with firefighters battling for 9 hours to save the more than 850-year-old Gothic cathedral. Prosecutors are looking into whether an electrical short circuit could have sparked the blaze. Notre Dame was undergoing extensive renovations at the time. They currently believe the fire was accidental. Officials also continued to assess the safety of the rest of the cathedral, acknowledging that the full extent of the damage to both the structure and the artwork that remains inside may not be known for some time.
For the Paris Fire Brigade, it's a case of monitoring the building, monitoring the hot spots that could still be in the structure and in the pile of debris that has accumulated in the nave and the vault.
French President Emmanuel Macron has called for Notre Dame to be rebuilt in 5 years.
We are rebuilders. There's a great deal to be rebuilt. And we will make the Cathedral of Notre Dame even more beautiful.
But the cathedral's former chief architect expects it will take longer than that, but called the more than $900 million in donations that have poured in from around the globe, quote, exceptional.
Yeah, more than $1 billion have been pledged by people to help build Notre Dame.
I am in the middle of the expressway with a donkey.
Okay, this is happening in Chicago, which they're known for the bears and cubs, but donkeys are just another matter altogether. Wednesday, Dusty the donkey was spotted taking a stroll along I-90. If you've ever been in that area, it's a very populated part of the interstate. Oh, you can see the little ears on top of the bottom of the screen there. It looks like the camera is right up. The officer must be straddling
That's
the donkey
what I'm thinking.
there,
Is he on the donkey?
Apparently, Dusty escaped from his trailer, and luckily, that police officer found the donkey, and they found the owner. The owner later took the donkey to the vet, and we have learned that he's doing fine.
Allowing a teen to get an abortion. Some Florida lawmakers think girls under 18 need to ask their parents for permission. Coming up, strong reaction to that thought. Plus,
just overwhelmed that we have this voice to say, you know, you little girl can do it. Like,
empowering girls all around the world by snapping a pic. How one conversation sparked an idea that has reached thousands.
Hey, you and I have a lot to talk about today. We've got some thunderstorms popping off the coast of Lee and Collier County right now, and then a really big line of thunderstorms off the west coast of Florida, all moving in our direction. I'll break down when we're expecting both of these areas of rain to impact us and what this tornado watch is all about for areas north of Lee County coming up in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you want more? Do you want more? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
More than 100 students at the Island Coast High School in Cape Coral have been working all morning to prepare a fish dinner, and it's for you. They have harvested and grown their own food themselves, and now they want you to try it. NBC2's Ashley Dyer is there this morning to tell us how students are able to do this.
It's all part of the school's Natural Resource Academy. So what that is, it's a program that teaches kids the importance of sustainability and lets them learn through hands-on experiences like what you're seeing right here behind me. Tonight, students are cooking dinner for the community. Everyone's invited to come out. It's all farm to table too. Even though it doesn't start until 4 p.m., they've been prepping for hours this morning. So you may be wondering what's for dinner. Well, they're serving up fish, chips, and salad. The best part about the dinner, everything you'll eat was grown right here on campus.
To educate, our generations coming up that we have to be able to be stewards of the planet, that they just can't be taking from it all the time.
You could fillet fish, you could grow your own stuff, you can do hydroponics. There's so many stuff you can do rather than just go to the grocery store.
Anyone can come to the event tonight. It's from 4 to 7 at the Island Coast High School. All you have to do is register first online, and we have a link on our website where you can do that. I'm in Cape Coral, Ashley Dyer, NBC2.
All right, thank you, Ashley. There's a lot going on today. I'm sure you've heard by now. We've known for several days that severe weather was a possibility today, and now it's starting to come through here. We've got a big line of thunderstorms that are popping up just off the west coast of Lee County and the west coast of Collier County, and these are now inching into areas of the Barrier Islands here in areas like Pine Island and Captiva and toward the southern end of Sanibel Island. Obviously here you'll notice there's a lot of heavy rain pushing toward the Captiva and North Captiva area, but as of right now inside that thunderstorm cell, only one cloud to ground lightning strike inside that cell. It's moving very fast though, nearly 40 miles an hour toward the northeast. So this cluster of storms is all moving toward Pine Island and eventually will move into Cape Coral. Live radar has it moving toward the heart of Cape Coral by 11:31. So if you live in the western side of Cape, west of downtown, keep in mind that it will be here a little bit earlier, perhaps closer toward 11:20 this afternoon. You'll notice as we move southward though, there's a few more lightning strikes off the coast of Bonita Springs, at Bonita Beach, and then off the coast of Naples as well. This part of the storm line is also moving toward the northeast and moving pretty fast. Again, 40 miles an hour is a pretty good forward speed. So considering how far it is right now from the beaches, this should be arriving in neighborhoods like Estero Island and Fort Myers Beach by 11:35, and the Barefoot Beach area here as you get closer toward the Collier County line by 11:37. There's of course also some activity off the coast of Marco Island and Naples, and you got it, it's also moving toward the northeast, a forward speed, again about 40 miles an hour, which means neighborhoods by Pelican Bay can expect the arrival, at least the heavier rain arrival, by 11:38, North Naples by 11:39, Pine Ridge neighborhood by 11:40, and then downtown Naples looks more like 11:44, and that's also the case for Port Royal, which is just to the south of downtown Naples. Now, over land, for the rest of the area, there is nothing for us to track just yet. But of course, you notice these red boxes popping up. The National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a tornado watch for Sarasota and DeSoto County. And of course, as you know, a tornado watch simply means that conditions in the atmosphere are favorable or expected to shortly become favorable for the development of strong thunderstorms that could produce tornadoes. Obviously, there's nothing on radar right now because the storms that we're talking about that could potentially produce a tornado or two, they're still offshore off the coast of Tampa and Sarasota. But everything you see here is moving toward the east. And something I wanted to point out here, it's up above my head, 516 cloud to ground lightning strikes in just the past 15 minutes with this line of storms. So it means business. So when is this expected to get here? Well, if we put our Futurecast model in motion and forward up here by a few hours, 3 o'clock this afternoon, that's when the leading edge of this line of thunderstorms is expected to inch into areas of Sarasota, western Charlotte, and DeSoto County. So if you're watching in, say, North Fort Myers, Cape Coral, perhaps an arrival time around 4 o'clock this afternoon, that then goes toward 4:30, 5 o'clock this evening in areas like Estero and Bonita Springs. And then the big line of storms off the west coast of Florida may not be until dinner time tonight when it arrives in areas like Naples and Marco Island. Now, we'll be with you. I'll be with you here all day. I'm not going home for a while here. So we'll be up on speed if anything pops up in terms of a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. Until then, I'll continue monitoring the radar, and I'll check back with you here in less than 10 minutes at 11:30.
You're in good hands with Rob Duns. Rob, we will check back in with you in a little bit. Thank you. A picture is worth 1,000 words. At least that's what they say. And one woman in Alabama is using her photos to let girls know they can do it all, inspiring those young girls from all walks of life. Her idea has gone viral with her pictures shared all over the world.
This is Heather Mitchell. She's a mom to 2 daughters and owns a photography business. It took one conversation at her 8-year-old daughter's softball practice to inspire a thought that would resonate with thousands of people around the world.
I just hope Paisley learns to love the game this year. This is her first year. I feel like she's athletic.
But another mother's response left her with an unsettling feeling.
Oh, she's not athletic. She's a girly girl.
I like to dress up in like high heels and fancy dresses, but I also love to play softball.
That night, I just kept thinking about it and playing it over and over in my head, and I thought, why does she have to choose? Why can't she be both?
She could be both. And Heather showed the world with these photos that girls don't have to choose. The pictures and their message went viral.
Just overwhelmed that we have this voice to say, you little girl can do it. Like nobody can tell you can't do it.
Now with a platform to stand on, Heather needed to share more.
We had a lot of feedback on our first post that that we didn't have diversity, but it was paid sessions. It wasn't models that we chose. So today, we get to choose. Everybody got a tough face?
In a follow-up photo shoot, girls joined together to show everyone just how tough they can be.
Say, we can do it all.
We can do it all.
Boom.
Mitchell added that she hopes all the little girls who see her series can see there is no box. Whatever their dreams are, they can achieve them.
Another credit card skimmer was found in Southwest Florida, this time at a car wash. It happened last weekend at the Gulf Coast Town Center Wash on University Plaza Drive. The man went to this one right here, you can see. He noticed the day after he got the car washed, he noticed that someone had used his credit card. The next day, the man got an alert on his cell phone about the charges, and that's when he realized someone stole his card info.
The news was about the gas stations. Now I've found it obviously at a car wash, and that's the same type of swiping mechanism.
Cape Coral, Punta Gorda, and Estero and all of Charlotte County have ordinances to protect us from skimmers. They force gas stations to put special locks on their pumps to make it harder for thieves to install those devices. The problem is it only applies to gas stations, not other businesses like car washes.
20 years since one of the deadliest school massacres in U.S. history.
2 suspects with multiple weapons. We had students trying to come out the windows.
Just one day before the anniversary, survivors are reliving the horrors they experienced at Columbine High. Coming up, how it shaped the way we respond to school shootings now. No, your eyes do not deceive you. It is not Thursday. We have a special edition of Florida Weekly on a Friday, and Eric Radish, the presentation editor, is joining us in studio.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday.
And we are going to kind of just look past the weekend and go straight to Monday for your front page of the Florida Weekly edition, Earth Day.
Right, so we had a real interesting idea. We all have heard about the importance of telling a story of what's going on with our environment, and we're all very concerned about our environment. But we said, you know, what if we had told the story of Florida's environment, but like in a comic strip style? Well, that's a good idea. So it just so happens with the most renowned editorial cartoonist, Doug McGregor, lives in Southwest Florida. He said yes. So this week we present to you, in all of its illustrated glory, Paradise in the Making, an Earth Day salute to the Sunshine State. For example, we realize that water quality is an issue to all of us, borne out by the last political cycle. We take a look, though, at some of the illustrative history through the hundreds of years leading up to today. For example, when the Herbert Hoover Dike was open, when Ponce de Leon came to Florida, through the dedication of the Everglades National Park, the construct of Alligator Alley. Why is it that we are living in paradise, and what has through the years shaped paradise? We tell you with this very special Doug McGregor illustrated rendition of our look at Paradise in the Making.
That's cool. A lot of history involved there as well.
Real keeper. It's a keeper. Special piece.
Frame it.
And you have to read a lot. It's illustrated, so there's no excuse if you're not a big reader. Just you can look at the illustration.
It satisfies everyone.
Everyone.
And so the next portion of this is managing remotely. So when you have, your company or whatever you're doing, and people aren't in the same building, how do you effectively lead people?
That's exactly what we take a look at. And we look at now more and more, it makes sense to have remote employees. We see it all the time. But challenges do arise for managers when they're managing folks remotely because, well, they don't see them. We don't really know what they're up to. We don't regularly speak with them and communicate with them. So what are these challenges of operating remotely? How can a manager maintain good employees who get things done, keeping them motivated and getting them part of a team when you're not sitting in the same room with them in the traditional business style? We've got some tips and tricks that'll keep you on your toes.
All right, arts and entertainment. When you think of someone becoming an actor, actress, stagehand, working on the set of a movie, a lot of people think, I'm going to New York, I'm going to go to California to learn my trade. But you guys find out that you don't have to go anywhere.
Correct. Southwest Florida has got a lot of places where you can find really good theater. Just how exactly you become to be part of those theaters is something we take a look at too. And many of them are being done through some of the schools. For example, our writer Nancy Stetson this week gets into the differences between the equity and non-equity actors, how they get to be equity and non-equity actors, how tough is it to be selected in some of these programs, and what options are there for school theater out there for those who just want to view some school theater. We have quite a few examples of what you may want to try out in this week's Schools for Stage.
All right, and of course, top picks. We got Easter this weekend, Earth Day coming up. We got a lot of good things to talk about.
Right, so where do we take the kids for Easter and or Earth Day? There are celebrations. We take a look at them in our calendar. If you're not too sure what to do and you don't want to, and you're also wanting to celebrate more than just Easter and Earth Day, we have some top picks, including Alan Cumming is going to be in town, Whoopi Goldberg, there's Stars on Ice, The Temptations and Four Tops, Jamie Kennedy, and much more. But those are some pretty big names that are here through this holiday weekend.
Of course, you can get these for free. Where?
Online, on stands, on your device, everywhere free, because the best things in life are free. Check out FloridaWeekly.com.
Right. Eric, thank you so much for coming in on a Friday. Happy Easter. We will see
Easter.
you next week.
Pleasure to see you. See you then.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville, searching for my lost sugar salt.
How does that not make you want to just get up and dance? Well, Jimmy Buffett is trading in his tequila and lime for a different kind of green, the new product being sold in Southwest Florida.
All right, and good morning, folks. We're tracking some thunderstorms now moving into areas of Lee County and eventually into Collier County. A live radar analysis in less than 4 minutes right here on NBC2.
Broward County deputies pepper spray teens before tackling them. NBC2 sharing that intense video.
And no hormones, minimal side effects. How researchers plan to change the way we use birth control.
But first this morning, we are tracking a healthy collection of thunderstorms and now sitting just off the west coast of Lee and Collier counties. These thunderstorms are blossoming as we speak and dropping some locally heavy rain in areas on the northern and western sides of Pine Island, and then of course toward the Lee County barrier islands. There's not a lot of lightning inside these downpours over Pine Island, but as you travel toward the south and find yourself over Sanibel Island and just west of St. James City, there's a whole bunch of lightning strikes that have hit in the past 15 minutes. In fact, picking up now on at least 16 cloud-to-ground strikes just in this corner of Lee County inside the past 15 minutes. Now, these storms are moving pretty fast, and out ahead of them, we're seeing some showers and a few isolated downpours in areas along McGregor Boulevard and just to the west of US 41. But everything you see here over Lee County is all moving toward the northeast. Now, again, forward speed is about 40 miles an hour, which means in terms of neighborhoods, we can expect the arrival of this portion of the heavier part of the thunderstorm in Ponderosa by 11:33, the Palm Acres neighborhood by 11:35, Iona, which is right there at 11:38, and then the center of Cape Coral by 11:38. So if you live in the western side of Cape Coral, again, west of downtown, it should be closer to, say, in the next 10-minute window for these downpours and heavier storms to start pushing toward the region. There's also some thunderstorms sitting off the western coast of Collier County. I'll give you a storm track on those and explain what the tornado watch is all about that impacts areas north of the Caloosahatchee River. All that and more coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Rob, thank you. We'll just take a look at this wild video out of Broward County. You can see a deputy putting a teen in a chokehold. This happened Thursday afternoon outside of a McDonald's in Tamarack. A witness told reporters that a group of high school students got together for a fight. Apparently that fight never actually happened, but deputies came to see what was going on and break up anything if it did, and he then takes the teen down. Before doing that, pepper sprayed the teen. You can also see deputies pounding the teen's head into the ground. The Broward County Sheriff's Office did not comment on this story, and it is currently under investigation.
12 students and a Colorado teacher were killed by 2 students 20 years ago tomorrow. Now, survivors are reliving the horror they faced inside the school that day. Natasha Chen reports.
2 suspects with multiple weapons.
April 20th, 1999, 12 students and 1 teacher brutally killed by 2 students, heavily armed with guns and homemade bombs at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. It remains one of the deadliest massacres in U.S. history and shaped how first responders and educators handle mass shootings.
We had students trying to come out the windows.
This student coming out of the window was Patrick Ireland.
I've been shot twice in the head and once in the foot. One of the buckshots went through the left hemisphere of my brain and paralyzed me on my right side.
Ireland struggled to the library window for 3 hours as first responders stood back, worried about undetonated bombs still in the school. Today, officers try to go in and confront gunmen on campuses immediately. Students nationwide also practice active shooter drills.
I actually feel really good that they're trying to do something, because just sitting there and waiting for more people to die is a horrible solution.
There is no magic solution 20 years later.
And I think we should look at every solution and try to evaluate and say, is this really going to make a difference? And if it does, let's do it and think outside the box.
And because of Columbine, mental health, gun control, and social media are now looked at with utmost scrutiny.
These shootings continue to happen, but my response is how many have been stopped because of things we're doing differently.
In Littleton, Colorado, I'm Natasha Chen reporting.
This morning, police are investigating a threat at a middle school. Police found a, quote, hit list. 2 girls are in custody in Avon Park. Officials say that the 2 girls at Avon Park Middle School put out a hit list of 10 students, 7 girls and 3 boys. The list said how they would be killed and where the bodies would be buried. The Highlands County Sheriff's Office says the girls may have been joking, but school officials and parents are not laughing.
People are, getting crazy nowadays, and especially at a middle school. You would think maybe a high school, middle school's pretty tough, right?
I think that we're definitely at a point of time that we don't take anything for granted, and if a threat is given, we're going to look into it.
The girls are charged with conspiracy to commit murder and conspiracy to commit kidnapping.
For a couple in Maryland, Easter weekend is a painful anniversary. It marks 7 years since their daughter Grace killed herself after she was bullied online. Now, the governor has signed Grace's law that allows families to take legal action if someone is trying to inflict emotional or physical harm towards someone else.
Lawyers for 2 defendants say that someone's trying to sell video from the investigation into a prostitution case in Florida, that case involving Patriots owner Robert Kraft. A motion filed on Thursday says the video is with the police and the state attorney's office. Prosecutors say that Kraft received sexual services at a Florida day spa. And Wednesday, a judge temporarily blocked the release of the video. The release would be in the case of the 2 women accused of running the spa.
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Well, wasting away again in Marijuanaville. How about that version? Jimmy Buffett is now introducing us to his new product being sold here in Southwest Florida. The musician's new medical marijuana line is carried by Surterra Wellness. The company has stores in Bonita Springs and Northport, and Jimmy Buffett's product has 4 different formulas, all with one theme.
Jimmy and his team had I think been looking for a partner to make Coral Reefer come to life. We hope to take you away to your own personal paradise.
Yeah, you did hear that right. The line is called Coral Reefer, and today it's actually 20% off at both Surterra dispensaries.
Should girls under the age of 18 be required by law in Florida to get their parents' permission to have an abortion? Republican lawmakers in the House passed a bill that would require a parent's consent. In cases of rape or abuse by a parent, those girls would have to get a judge's approval. This morning, young women say that they're split on this issue.
I feel like that it definitely shouldn't be like younger than 16, but I'm not quite sure about the other things that play into it. It's a really tough question to answer, really.
Their parents can say something if they want, but it should be their decision.
This bill is now going to the state Senate, but lawmakers have been slow to react. They only have until May 3rd to get it done. That's when the legislative session ends.
Some of us have a lot of medications to take every day, and health experts say many of us don't actually know how taking these medicines all together can affect us. On today's Health Matters, Lindsay Morton has tips on how you can better manage your meds.
Know your meds, know your allergies, know you.
It's advice health experts recommend all patients follow.
It's important because we want to help guide the patients and the community in knowing more about themselves to keep themselves protected.
Ambulatory pharmacist Susan Mitchelson says many patients don't know what their medication is or how it affects them.
They know it's the yellow tablet, the pink tablet, the blue tablet, but they don't know what it is, how it reacts in their body, what over-the-counter medications will interfere with those, and how it can help and impact their stays in the hospital.
She encourages patients to keep a list of their medications on them at all times. Whether it's in your wallet, purse, or car, it's important to be able to tell medical professionals what you're taking and the side effects.
It's very important to know what over-the-counter medications or homeopathic medications they're taking, because that can impact their treatment that they're going to receive on our campuses.
It's also important for loved ones to be educated on what kind and how much medication you're taking.
The more people know, the better they can help out.
Knowing the name, amount, and side effects to your medication are all important to maintaining your health. For Lee Health, I'm Lindsay Morton.
Researchers at UC Berkeley believe they've developed something that could revolutionize birth control. They're creating a product that won't have hormones and can be used by women and men. Now, this is how they intend it to work. If sperm cells can't reach a woman's egg, they can't fertilize it, but the plan is to create a pill that men can take that won't do that. The drug, however, is similar to how they treat tapeworms, something that they've already been using around the world for years. So that would then prevent the sperm from being able to actually fertilize the egg and giving them any of the energy to do so. Some are finding this product interesting.
So drugging sperm cells with our small molecule results in sperm cells that are really deprived in energy, so they cannot swim from point A to B.
I think it's interesting that we're finally putting the weight on men to control their responsibility.
Researchers say that there are minimal side effects if this works, but before they can make a pill, they plan on creating a hormone-free product that women can buy over the counter. They hope to have that spermicidal gel available for sale by 2025.
And here they are, the toy group.
Hey, the little guys are just as important as the big guys. They resemble a lot of times.
Amanda says they're so cute. People in Beverly Hills are rolling out the red carpet literally for their pooches. Only the glitz and glamour of the Beverly Hills Dog Show can provide. There will be more than 1,000 dogs and 175 breeds. You can catch that right here on NBC. It's happening Easter Sunday from 1 to 3.
He was peeing before his pants were even all the way down, so obviously he had to go.
Remember this mom ticketed after a potty training emergency in Georgia. Well, new evidence has surfaced. NBC2 takes you into the courtroom next.
Poor kid. All right, we've got a lot going on live radar right now. A big thunderstorm pushing into the western side of Lee County and a lot more thunderstorm activity over the Gulf of Mexico. When I come back, you and I are going to walk through the radar step by step, community by community, and explain what you can expect for the rest of the day.
Okay. I'm in the green room, but I'm walking towards the newsroom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here in the Alert Center, I'm Stacey Defama with some breaking news just crossing the wires from Jackson, Mississippi, the National Weather Service on the ground there in Mississippi. Jen, if you could pull this up here. Severe storms, we've talked about that this morning and throughout the day here. And the National Weather Service has crews on the ground right now surveying some of the damage. And they have just updated us to say that the damage is consistent with what appears to be an E2 tornado. This is in Morton, Mississippi in Scott County. So they're there right now looking at some of the damage from severe storms that moved through Mississippi overnight.
Hey, Stacey, while you're looking for severe weather reports, if you would, check out the Chiefland area or toward Levi County. I'm getting reports from the Weather Service. There may be some damage up there, which is north of the Tampa and St. Petersburg area, but all part of the same storm system that is impacting the Florida Peninsula today. Here and now, right now, we have a good line of thunderstorms that has popped up here in western Lee County and eventually in toward western Collier County. Out ahead of the bigger thunderstorms, there's some isolated heavy downpours popping up over the Fort Myers area. One of these is right over top of McGregor Boulevard in in downtown Fort Myers. Another one has popped up just to the south and the southwest, if you will, of the Daniels Parkway and Interstate 75 intersection. You'll notice here, this is looking toward the southwest, so you're looking toward Cape Coral in this view. The clouds are building here, but the bigger storms are still just out of view of where the camera is, and those are right now sitting across the far western side of Cape Coral and basically over Matlacha and the eastern side of Pine Island. And there's also a big cluster of lightning strikes now east of St. James City and to the west of Fort Myers Beach. This blue dot on the board here, that represents the NBC2 First Alert Storm Tracker. They're going to be out cruising around Lee County here over the next couple of hours, and they'll try and give you a bird's eye view of what the storms are doing on the ground, a lot in addition to what our live radar can pick up here. So they'll be in and out of the newscast over the next hour and a half. You'll notice though with the storm track, given the speed at about 40 miles an hour, we're expecting these to move in toward the North Fort Myers area here in the next about a half an hour or so. So in terms of neighborhoods, you're looking for an arrival time of some of the heavier rain by 11:50 in Pine Lakes, 11:51 in Tropic Terrace, 11:51 for Waterway Estates, which is there toward North Fort Myers, and then the Terra Lakes community closer to 11:52 here this afternoon. As we move toward the south, you'll notice that the thunderstorms off of South Lee County's coastline and Collier County's coastline are still over the Gulf of Mexico, but these two are moving toward the northeast at about 40 miles an hour. Right now, they are sitting just about 9 miles to the west of Little Hickory Island here, which is very close to Bonita Beach. And again, with a movement toward the northeast at 40 miles an hour, we can expect arrival times here in the Forest Island Park neighborhood, which is kind of South Fort Myers, we refer to it as, by 11:51. Island Park Village as well by 11:52. Barefoot Beach right about there by 11:54, and Estero River Heights just before the top of the hour here at 11:55. As we travel further toward the south here along this same line of thunderstorms with a movement toward the northeast at 40 miles an hour, this should be approaching the downtown Naples area closer toward noon and then just thereafter. So the Moorings neighborhood, which is in Collier County, by 12:02, and then for neighborhoods around the Golden Gate community after the top of the hour as well. As of right now, we are not seeing any signs of rotation inside these particular thunderstorms that are sitting over Lee County and just off the Collier County coastline. But the possibility of a spin-up tornado is something we have to consider here for the rest of the afternoon. In Charlotte County, a big downpour sitting right across the southern end of the Cape Hayes Peninsula and towards Charlotte Harbor. It has since moved in the past 10 minutes here, but the storm track gives you the idea of the general progression moving toward the northeast. Areas near Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda can expect an uptick in the arrival of the rain here inside the next half an hour or so. Big picture, though, what you have to be aware of is that the National Weather Service does have a tornado watch active for Sarasota and DeSoto County, and that is because this big line of storms is all moving in our direction. The arrival times of those storms will be toward this afternoon. We're looking for an arrival time somewhere between 3 and 4 o'clock in neighborhoods across Charlotte, northwest Lee County, and areas of DeSoto County, and then closer toward a supper time tonight for areas across Lee County, and then southward on 41 and 75 toward Naples and Marco Island. As we've mentioned, the big risk here today is some damaging wind gusts, but as these storms move through, the possibility of an isolated spin-up tornado is something I'll be watching very closely here with you throughout the rest of the afternoon. An update on live Doppler radar coming your direction in less than 10 minutes as the news continues.
Rob, thanks for keeping us updated on that. Well, this morning, a potty training emergency for one Georgia mother leaves her slapped with a disorderly conduct ticket, all because her 3-year-old child peed outside a gas station. Meredith Anderson reports on how she was hoping to get that ticket thrown out.
Judge, I'm going to ask for a continuance. I have filed a motion for discovery in the matter.
Apparently, there's body cam footage. We first introduced you to Brooke and her son Cohen 2 weeks ago, not long after they had to pull over for their now infamous potty training emergency.
And he's like, Mama, I gotta pee, I gotta pee, I gotta pee. And I was like, well, hold on. He's like, no, I gotta pee, I gotta really pee. And I was like, well, baby, there's nowhere for me to pull off. Mama, I'm about to pee my pants.
Mom says she made it into this gas station parking lot just in time, but they didn't make it inside.
He was peeing before his pants were even all the way down, so obviously he had to go.
When he was finished, a Richmond County deputy gave Mom a ticket for disorderly conduct. It says she allowed her male child to urinate in the parking lot. I observed the male's genitals and the urination. Public restrooms are offered at the location. The magistrate judge wanted to know if the body cam footage would be an integral part of the trial.
I don't think so, Your Honor. Possibly the surveillance footage, but not the body footage.
Still, her attorney will review it before the case ends up on a court calendar. There's still a chance it could be resolved before then, though. Brooke just hopes everything happens before Cohen's baby sister arrives.
Yeah, she's hoping to have this issue resolved before her little boy becomes a big brother.
What? I thought he was about to be a joke.
Controversy in Ohio over a church's Easter lesson. This video is showing a pastor encouraging kids to spit and cut him with a knife. The pastor says the reason was to teach students the story of the crucifixion and how Jesus suffered. One mother rushed to pick her kid up after seeing that video.
I don't think that they're role models. I think that the way they chose to deal with this it's just sick.
My intention was just to show them how much Jesus loved them.
The lead pastor posted an apology on social media, and the mom thinks there now needs to be new leaders at the church.
And he said, has there been any undue stress lately? I said, yeah, pickleball.
An ongoing issue in Charlotte County continues to evolve. A Punta Gorda man says the sound from pickleball nearly made him have a stroke. Bernie DePaul tells NBC2 that pickleball is bad for his health, and his friends are backing him up. DePaul spent $10,000 of his own money to study what the sound does to his body. That study found the noise does create a health risk.
Hypertension, heart problems, and a myriad of other physical conditions that combined can lead to stroke.
Right now, the City Council is installing sound barriers to help keep that noise down.
Just ugly, hideous, and extremely damning, I guess is the right way to put it.
A disturbing act caught on camera. Why investigators say that gym teacher threw a 14-year-old to the ground.
And some stormy weather on the way to southwest Florida. That's a live look right now on McGregor Boulevard in southern areas of Lee County. If the control room could take Lynx 1 graphic, we'll take a look based on GPS positioning, where that storm tracker is located. There you go, right on the blue dot in the Iona Gardens community. It's moving northeast on McGregor Boulevard. We'll continue to provide you with street-level analysis on what's happening outdoors as severe thunderstorms continue to impact southwest Florida.
A gym teacher at a Utah charter school is out of a job this morning. In this video, you'll be able to see him shoving a student and then throwing him to the floor. Sean Moody explains what led up to this.
Just ugly, hideous, and extremely damning, I guess is the right way to put it.
Darren Beck is the executive director of Rockwell Charter High School in Eagle Mountain. He was disturbed by what he saw on this video. Here's what it showed. Investigators say this PE teacher, Anthony Chidester, pushed a student up against the wall, then threw him to the ground. Investigators said the 14-year-old boy had not followed a direction Beck gave him and that a dispute with another student had happened earlier in the class. Beck said he fired Chidester immediately.
You're out of here. Yeah, get your stuff and you're gone.
The Utah County Sheriff's Office is also investigating. The spokesperson said a deputy interviewed Chidester at his home and that Chidester acknowledged what happened.
Chagrined would be putting it mildly. He readily acknowledged that he overreacted. Hindsight for him is working really strong right now, but it's a little late.
They issued him a citation for child abuse, a Class A misdemeanor. Darren Beck said he understands there can sometimes be difficult situations, but he said nothing excuses what was captured on that video.
I did get the story from him. I let him tell his side of it, and the adults, kids, same